present on this topic. Dr. Habib, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Today, we are going to talk about Iconic's dashboard projects. My name is Habib Rahman, and I've got with me Amanda and Suthipong, and Indra is hosting and helping us towards this webinar. So let's see what we are going to cover in this one. Many of the attendees know Iconic's company name for last 39 years. We have changed our company name to Mitsubishi Electric Iconic's digital solution, being as a part of Mitsubishi companies now. And we are still maintaining same addresses, same emails, same websites, and still headquarters is in Foxborough, USA. And the purpose of changing our portfolio is we will be focusing more broader on the digital transformation. The purpose of digital transformation tools and transformation strategy is to remove manual processes and to reduce duplicate work with operators and where people and users are re-entering data multiple times. So we are trying to streamline those processes, integrate those applications, and through this digital transformation technology. Genesis, Iconic's main portfolio is Genesis product, and many of our channel partners keep on asking what are the differentiations, what are the key differences. So I thought that it would be a good idea that I would list those and summarize some of those. There could be many more as well, but I'm just putting few of those, which include the fully support for HTML5 thin technology, where you do not need any scripts. And with the latest Genesis, we support 2D, 3D visualization on HTML5 as well. IoT and universal connectivity are very strong for Iconic's Genesis product. One of the big differentiation I feel is the asset-based system configuration, the asset-based configuration where you can physically map your physical assets to digital twin kind of thing as well. High-speed data historian and large-scale advanced alarm management, alarm reporting, and reporting of various other data, which includes downtime, OEE, and production, etc. Iconic has been very strong in workflow management, bridging of data, movement of data from one system to another. If we look into these days trends, direct integration of video and streaming of those from camera, and then advanced camera analysis, which means that you can define various triggers and alarms in the camera itself, and we can play those and take those as alarms and events. Integration of SMS, email alerts, because not everybody is stuck to the screens all the time. So with the people's moving around, these kind of notifications is a big differentiation. Cloud scalability. Some data could be in a cloud. It's kind of a hybrid technology, where we can have some data on premise, some systems on cloud. One of the positive and the strongest point for Iconics is built-in system redundancy and the self-system health monitoring as well. For large, high availability systems, critical applications, we want to monitor ourselves and look into how much memory, CPU, and what are the other parameters for our system for the stability. Online project documentation and rapid development and deployment. That's our topic for today as well. And apart from those, we have many other feature functions, fault detection, diagnostics, OEE, energy, MQTT, and many more. So taking today's topic, I would like to do a comparison between a traditional approach, which everybody is familiar for years, is that you start developing the graphic screens, which are kind of manual processes without using the concept of templates and without having the asset catalog or asset equipment categories. And if you need to add any new pump or any new valve, you had to manually edit those graphic screens and configure those alarms and trends and everything. And that would be a challenge by itself, and especially when a lot of changes have to be made, even some of the colors and fonts and other changes. So it's difficult to scale up and difficult to maintain. And what we are recommending is a modern approach, which is based on templates and with the concept of defining the asset tree, asset hierarchy, using equipment classes. You can maintain everything on the server within the project in one project and it's easy to make those changes if you want to add or replicate an asset. If you want to add a valve, you just need to replicate the properties or attribute of that class, and it will automatically update the front-end graphics as well. So there is no need of manual changes to the dashboard, and that helps us to scale up the whole project as well. So we're going to be discussing how this is arranged and what are the tools available. Looking at the AssetWorks or asset catalog, what we have is an asset tree where you can define hierarchy of your corporate, your plant, your facility with the assets. The way we do it is that when you define an asset, you can have various properties, attributes, which includes real-time data, alarms, history. And you can define those as equipment class, which is basically a template. So you can have a pump or motor, valve as those your equipment library with those properties, and the source of data as generic source of data. And then if you want, you can also configure those as a background as an Excel sheet, and then define those whole list of assets is in an Excel sheet and import those as bulk asset configuration, associate that with the front end symbol, and it will automatically generate the front end graphic as well. So that's the process which we are doing, is that we can define some assets and we can export those assets, which gives us the template in an Excel, and then we can replicate those and then we can print those. So this is what is the basis for the digital twin as well, that you have the physical presence and the physical hierarchy of those assets with their properties, like a pump could have a speed and the temperature, humidity, status, whatever, and you want to bring that and replicate into your digital space in your dashboards. So the moment we add a new asset, for example, it would automatically generate the graphic as well. So right now, for example, if we have 4 assets and those are getting data from various sources, and we have 4 objects on our screen, and if we add a 5th one, it would automatically add as well. In the background, we are just using 2 major configuration tools: the Workbench for all the backend applications and the front-end graphic tool for the dashboards. Now, this is also kind of moving away from the traditional approach, and that's what is that mostly the work will be done on the backend server side, and all the changes configuration, design, engineering station, development would be on the server side with the concept of bulk configuration and asset catalog and changes. And the front end would be some kind of one time of the development. You have your graphic screen with clone dynamics with your symbols. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. And how can you use this IcoDSB dashboard, which means Iconix dashboard template, to make those such projects for the rapid development and deployment. These are some of the examples which you can see on our portal as well, where on the left-hand side you will see the asset navigation, and based on your asset information, once you select that, your main graphic screen would change. And for example, in this lower right corner, if you have an electrical diagram, one line diagram, and you want to put another circuit breaker, you just need to add that into your asset and define or point out the position in terms of XY coordinates in the attributes, and that circuit breaker would automatically be placed on one line diagram. If customer wants to move it manually during runtime, that can be done. Similarly, on the left-hand side, lower left-hand side, you can also have as a tabular format, which is another way of having your asset information, that when you add a new AHU or fan or any other equipment, it automatically grows the table as well. So you can generate various types of graphics and graphic screens. So I will be giving the control to Amanda to walk us through what are the recommendations for the smart development and the fast development. So Amanda, give us some insight about the Iconix dashboard and how can we use those templates. Please take a control.
Okay. Hi everyone, Amanda here. So after Dr. Habib has explained what is IcoDSB project template, I'm going to show you some slides. So first of all, this recommendation from us will be able to help you to do standardize of your GUI, modernize your GUI, and also allows you to manage your assets very intelligently. And this graphics that you're using, right, implemented will be able to use in any glass smart device, web browser, or desktops. So IcoDSB project template, how does it help you? It actually comes with a great set of default functionality, and also it has a rich professional user interface that you're going to see after the slides later. But before that, I'm going to show you where can you use our IcoDSB, where can you download. So this screen here, probably some of you already know, we have this link called demo.iconix.com. So it provides you many application solutions in different industry, like what you see here, manufacturing, logistics, data center, oil and gas, smart buildings. So for those of you that were interested in this, you can go to each of the applications. Just go in, you are able to see is a real-time simulation from there, and you are able to see what kind of graphics, what kind of functions, feature that is already provided in these applications, right? And if you wanted to actually download it and practice and see how it works, you can download the project. Right? And the last thing, that the most important, is the resource, where you see from here, this is the resource that we actually place the IcoDSB template here. So if you notice over here, we have this file version, okay, Genesis version for V10, 10.9, 7.3, and also version for V11. So for those of you is still running on V10, you are able to download this IcoDSB from here, this download link, and also the instruction manual to help you to install. So this manual also can be downloaded here. And for those of you already want to try V10, same thing, you can download from these two locations, right? Okay, so this is the instruction manual that actually give you a very good explanation from the starting point of how to place a zip file, how to start to open the dashboard, how to make changes in the asset equipment, this and that, right? So please do find time to explore this. Okay, so creating professional user interface. So what is within these project templates? So we provide you the methods and also the techniques which make use of the standard product function, and as well as allowing you to do any customization. And as you can see from here, the database is actually designed with assets that user functions such as aliasing, expression, and cloning. And in this asset tree, you can create logical asset hierarchy that represent your enterprise or represent the site, area, production, so far and so on. And on any of this level of the data model, you can have properties that serve as some metadata, or properties that address the sensors or other source. And this solution can actually help you to collect, store, visualize, and analyze asset information. So the dashboard setting and menu are actually based on the equipment classes. So you will see from the next page here, what do we mean? So in the iconic project template, what is the component inside? So we have this component like dashboard setting and menu, which is based on equipment class that allows you to do quick design of your menu structure that uses spreadsheet rather than manually adding this. And we give you a modern look, and with a view of menu on the left side, and header and footer and the content area. And the content is organized in panels like left, right, in the middle to allow information to be shown based on the user interaction. So for example, a user selects a lab condition, and the right panel is commanded to show the related information. And the side panel may actually open the detailed display to show inside the content area for to represent certain asset on the plan, such as floor plan, to allow user to interact with other equipment as well. So user can access this dashboard through browser using this link. HTTP with a server URL, any class is a must, and then the project name. Or HTTP, server URL, any class, project name, and the main GDFX, the graphic file. Right, so these are two ways. Right, so here, this is a demo that you can see that I have launched from the HTTP. So localhost is my my link, could be my IP address, could be my PC name, or could be just localhost. And this is my main.gdfx, right? So this is viewing from browser. So could be from Microsoft Edge, could be from Chrome, or could be Firefox, right? And this is another look and feel using GraphWorX. Okay, GraphWorX 64 or GraphWorX. Okay. Now, over here, let me just go to the next one. Okay. You see, we mentioned that we provide a lot of functionality, a lot of different kind of setting that you can adjust. So from here, you see that there is this setting icon here. Okay, if you click on it, okay, there will be this thing called dashboard, menu, sidebar, and others. So let's take a look at what is dashboard. So for this dashboard, we have functions like languages, and we have functions like color theme. So you can choose, for example, here show a dark theme. You can always switch to light theme, night theme, or other deep night theme, right? Or I would like to switch to different languages, like I can go to Czech Republic, Germany, Chinese, right? So this is, by switching, is easily showing you how the whole thing change, right? And of course, we have other like menu style. And over the left panel here, we have provided a UI elements. And we have many different type of elements here. So for example, this screen shows that, oh, I'm looking at cage. What kind of cage design that I can have? So once you click on it, we have some samples of caging. And let's say you want to know icons. What kind of icons that's been provided for you to use? right? So it's really full of the functionality and the features. So much are provided, right? Now, on the top of this so-called, we call it a Berger icon, on this top left corner of the dashboard, it will actually show the assets. So meaning later, if I click on this, it will show the assets. So when user navigate to this specific asset, such as when we talk about building management system, air handling unit, it will automatically load equipment detail GDFX file in the content area. Let's take a look at the next screen here. So this is the burger. So when I click on it, so this is the asset. So when I scroll down, or rather I go into each of the asset, and I will notice that, oh, in this sample here, I have HU1, HU2. So when I do a right click, it will load these equipment details for this HU. So over here, we have overview that show the schematic of the equipment of this HU. And we also have other tab here that show trend, point, alarm schedule references. Okay, so next, let's go into this. Dr. Habib has mentioned before how easily if the customer, or rather the programmer, wanted to add the equipment. So remember, I have HU1 and HU2. So if I created a new asset called HU3, right, and of course with all the parameters being set up, so what happened in this equipment detail here is, if I go to the Berger again, and I click on, I refresh on my this assets, I will see that my HU3 appeared by itself automatically, right? And then when you click on it, this schematic again will appear, and then it will reflect the respective HU3 parameters. Okay, so this is using a clone dynamic technology. Okay, so let's back to my HU2 where I clicked just now. So the next step here is trend. So if the data tag, or rather there's some data already being assigned to historical data, over here when I click on the trend, you will notice that these are all the log historian data plotted by the default line chart. And then below you see the legend here. So these are all the data that's being logged. They will appear here. Okay. And then we have this different period of time that you want to see, hour, 1 hour, 2 hour, 8 hours, so forth and so on. So this is already pre-designed here. Okay, you don't have to worry about this. And for this HU, point details is a very good way of seeing all the real-time data that's coming from all these parameters in this HU. So it's like at one glance I know what is the value, and if there's no value, I'm able to do troubleshooting from here as well. Okay. And of course, alarming. So alarming, we have pre-built for you some priorities, and of course, you can also do your own priorities, like filtering the priorities. So you can see real-time alarm, or you can see historical alarm by clicking on here. Okay. So this is the historical alarm, whereby you can also filter, or rather do the date range to see last month, last week, what are the alarm that's being logged, that's being happened. Okay. And then schedules. So if it's in a BMS environment, most likely you have a scheduling that is assigned to the equipment. So from here, the schedule that's being assigned for this HU will be able to show here, and you are able to make changes as well. Okay. Right. So next one, on the left side, you see there's this report function here. So when you click on it, and then this report manager will appear. And of course, before that, we must have some report templates and some scheduling being set up here. Then we are able to see the enabled report for you to select and generate from here. Okay. And we also are able to do this integration to the GIS, geographical map. So over here, these are some of the pins that you can locate. So if I were to click on here, or rather I don't click, I just move my mouse here, it will show me, oh, what is the information coming from this area, Foxborough, what is the latitude, what is the longitude, so far and so on. Okay, so there is a lot of pre-defined functions and also method that's being incorporated. It's really, really very helpful to the programmer and to whoever wanted to do a very fast job and also a very, beautiful dashboard. So I would suggest that, everyone start to look into our IcoDSB template. All right, so thank you so much. Now we will have a next, my colleague Sudipon will provide the demonstration on this IcoDSB. Thank you.
Sudipong is here. I'm going to show you how to install the IcoDSB template and use it in a simple way. You can create your project in rapid time. Go to the iconixdemo.com and go to resource and download this template. For example, if you have the V11, just download here, and if you have the 1097.3, just download here. And you can see the readme node here that is not match the real step. You need to download and extract the file, and it will be the readme file in that order. That is the exact steps that we need. Copy this extracted file first on the directory that is not belong to specific user. General person can access to this. For example, I'm putting this on the C drive. Open SQL Management Studio and connect with the administrator. Open for the script. Go to the folder of IcoDSB. And go to configs and SQL script. Open IcoDSB. Change the administrator password if you want, and hit execute. This will create a database and relate a table. Go to IcoDSB folder. IcoDSB, as you can see, this is the IcoDSB setup. Right click on it and open with Notepad. This is the project name. You can change it if you want. I will leave it. And this is the user and password for the workbench. If you enable the security configurator, or you can leave it blank, it will be asking for user and password if you have active the security. Now right click on the IcoDSB setup batch file, window batch file here, and run as administrator. You can read IcoDSB README for more detail for how to set up this template. In the README file, go to deployment section and you will see the few steps to set up this. Waiting for the installation, and you can see here for the progress. After finish, it will be open the web page for you. Just close it because we need to configure something. Go to Workbench, Database, Connectivity here under Data Connectivity, Database, and SQL connection. It will be IcoDSB database connection here. Double click on it and configure connection. As you can see, there is incorrect SQL server name. In my system, it is the PC name and SQL Express. Then we need to correct this. You can use Windows NT Integrate Security, or you can use the SQL Security as well. And hit OK. Hit Apply and test connection again. Do this with another ICO Unify config. And hit Apply, test connection. Now go to the platform service alias under global alias. Double click on ICO global color plate. Hit Apply. Do this with the language alias under alias, and you can see IcoDSB and hit Apply. Now go to Asset and under Product Configuration and Alarm and Event Settings and General Setting and Alarms and Event Source. Check here, make sure that it is checked and hit Apply. Now you can go to any class IcoDSB, and here we go, we are already installed. In IcoDSB you will have trend, alarm, report, map, and another get gauge. You can see when we zoom in to the map, you will see the location of Foxborough and other people here. When you move the mouse over that point, it will be showing the tooltip for that asset. You can configure this location in the asset. The most asset will have the latitude and longitude. As you can see, this is the latitude and the longitude here. And in the demo, there are the worker location from the GraphWorX. You can disable this by going to the directory of the IcoDSB folder, and in the map, you will see the map GDFX here. Open it. At the CFS worker position, you can hide it and save. Now get back and reload. We will have only Foxborough position, that is the asset in the workbench. You have list view that's showing the asset FCU example, and in the example you will have the command that you can see the result of each command, and this is the UI element. For example, icon. If you would like to use some icon, when you move the mouse over this icon, you could see it is the name of this icon. You can use this name in your configuration. I will show you in the simple way to create your own page. For example, if you would like to add your menu and your page here in the menu, I will go to the file in the IcoDSB, and in config, book, and the file IcoDSB menu here. Open it with Excel. Create your own menu by copy this line. Just copy and paste this here, and now change the name, for example Mitsubishi, and change the order and the page in that folder. For example, this is the folder and this is the file name. In the IcoDSB and DSB, I will create my folder here, my page, and I will create some GraphWorX here. Just save. And now we have to manipulate this. And you can specify the icon and save. Now use this file in the book asset. Go to Workbench, File, and Book Asset Configurator. Click on Book Asset Configurator and browse for the file and config book and the menu, IcoDSB menu. Open, uncheck Create Alarm Work Server configuration and Create Hyperhistorian configuration, and hit Execute. Just close it. Now you have your menu here, Mitsubishi. Click on Mitsubishi. My mistake. Here. As you can see, you have your own page and your menu. And if you would like to hiding some menu, just go to the Excel file and change true to false. Save and run book asset again. It will be disable that menu. Will not enable, but still there. If you would like to hiding it, you can just delete this line, and at the top you will have the asset navigator here. When I click on the AHU one, as you can see, there will be the detail, the page of AHU one, and when I move the mouse over the process point, as you can see, this is the data tag from the AHU one, from the asset of AHU one. This is the property, the asset property that we have defined in the workbench. And you will got the trend. Click on the show list icon and you will see if you have the historian data here, you can move it to the trend viewer and you can change the period of time. You can export the data from this trend and you can download it. You can configure for period, interval, and calendar, as you can see, just like in trend viewer, and you can pause it and showing the data, and also the point detail of each asset, alarm, and so on. Move the mouse over the parameter. This is the parameter from ASU1, as you can see, and when I click on the ASU2, the same page but change the parameter to ASU2. Look at this in the workbench and at the asset. When we click on the US Foxborough HQ and HVAC, just like we saw in the navigator, and at the ASU1, when we double click on it and go to command, this display. The command is load graphic display and the file name here. Then you can specify the file name at the GWX config file. This is the property itself. Then you need to expand on the ASU1 and go to this parameter GWX config file here. And at the runtime data, this is the folder and the file name of the equipment detail, and another one is the equipment config. As you can see, this is the overview folder and ASU. Then we can create some file in the config in the IcoDSB and DSB, and at the equipment detail it will be overview folder here. And in the overview folder I have created my own page, no ASU here in this demo. I have created my own, just you can see here. And when I double click on it, I have used the alias. This is the name, the asset path. This is the asset path, because in the ASU1 here, in the command and load graphic display, this is the global alias asset path. We can use this in our GraphWorX display. Then I use this in my GraphWorX display here and here, and save this file to this folder. Only one file. It can serve for all devices that you have. You also have the login feature here. You can log in. You can create your own system with a simple way with the IcoDSB template. In the workbench, you can see the example project, the example equipment, BMS, and manufacturing. Under BMS, it is the folder Iconics, US Foxborough HQ, flow, and the asset under the flow, and the asset under HVAC. This is from the file example BMS. This is the sample BMS that is in the folder IcoDSB and configs and book. Some example here, the sample BMS and sample manufacturing. When you use this file in the book asset, execute it, then it will create the BMS example here. And another one, another file, the manufacturing. The asset BMS and Iconics under BMS, US under Iconics, and you can compare to this. This is the class instantiation in column base, and this is the class instantiation in row base. For BMS, Iconics, US, Foxborough, HQ, and floor, there is the column base in the class instantiation sheet. And another one, there are class instantiation row base items. What is the difference? The difference is the parameter. This is the parameter in column base. There is display name, description, icon, sort order, and so on. But in the class instantiation row base, this is the parameter in the same column. It's not expand to different column. There is cooling valve, description, display name. You can see here instance name ASU1 under HVAC. There is ASU1. When we double click on ASU1 in the parameter name here, cooling valve, description, display name, filter, and so on. This is from the parameter name column here. And we can define the parameter value in the sheet and run the book asset in Workbench. It will be create or update to the asset equipment. We can make the understanding from here at the target equipment, BMS Iconic US, Foxborough, HQ, HVAC, and the ASU1, ASU2. This is the ASU1 and this is ASU2. You can copy this to create another ASU, ASU3, 4, 5 as you want, and FCU as well. This will create the instance under HVAC, FCU4 under HVAC as well. And the equipment class that we refer to is the BMS, HVAC, and FCU. Then you can go to this to make sure that you have this equipment class under BMS, HVAC, and this is the ASU in the name text box. And this is the FCU, and in the parameter tab, this is the parameter. This is the parameter of ASU as well. You can compare this. This is the parameter name and parameter value. And this is the equipment class that we refer to. And in another sheet, class instantiation, that is the column base. The BMS has no parent because it is the parent here, BMS. And the Iconics has the BMS as the parent. US has the Iconics and so on. And the equipment class, this is in general folder, and this is location, and this is the building. Equipment property, for example, the icon, the latitude and longitude. After manipulate or create the new equipment or create the new file, you can copy this file and create your own example project equipment and then run the book asset configurator. You can click on book asset and select your file and then hit execute. And please note that if you not use the alarm work server configuration and hyper storage, just uncheck this and execute.